The Dharma, incomparably profound and exquisite, is rarely met with even in hundreds of thousands of millions of kalpas. We now can see it, hear it, accept and hold it. May we realize the true mind of the Tathagata. That is a wonderful prayer, and one that I think keeps us all going. That's why we're all here. We want to open to that true mind of the Tathagata, which is within us and all around us all the time. There's no difference really between inside or outside, or self or other, or up or down. But we get really, unfortunately, tangled up and hurt by our thoughts about things, thoughts about who we are, thoughts about how the world is or how other people are, what they're thinking, feeling, what they might be thinking or feeling towards us. And we wind up in some pretty painful mind states. And we habituate those mind states. So as we're going around in our daily life, after a while, even without any input, we can create these difficult scenarios in our mind and experience a lot of stress and anxiety around it. As I mentioned the other day, I have for a long time had a personal habit, without even really totally being aware of it, of just creating a lot of stress about everything, just basic things. Something I have to take care of, then immediately like, okay, what do I have to do? All right, what about this? And it's like just a certain level of tension that just doesn't need to be there. But that became my habit for a long time. And just staying present with the parts of that habit that I could notice is what changed it over time. So as I deepened through my practice, I became more aware of different layers of that tension and stress. And at each layer, I opened to it as much as I could, extended that breath, searched at the end of the breath, explored the mystery that opens up at the end of the breath, and just plumbed that mystery until truth revealed itself. And I went through that process over and over and over again. Each time a different level of opening, each time a different level of letting go. And eventually you get to a point where, and I don't know if I've experienced that or not, so I'm not saying that from a personal standpoint, but in general, the way it works is that in general, you let go to a point where old habit patterns, when they start to come up again, just don't have much power at all. It's almost like a puff of air, or just a wisp of a scent of some attachment or idea about things. And you can live in this really free way. And to some extent, I've experienced that, so it's not completely, I'm not making this up. I do want to provide some encouragement that it's possible. This is something that I've experienced to some extent, but there's always deeper to go and more to see. But the process works. That's my point. It does work. And it works slowly, and it works over time. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel like Sisyphus dragging a rock up a hill in hell forever. There are lots of moments of letting go. Somebody on Zoom just went like this. Yeah, I promise it's not like that forever. It can feel like that. And in the middle of, dragging the rock up the hill, it feels like it's going to be forever because it's a really heavy rock, and that's your entire experience is, okay, I'm in hell, and I have this big, heavy rock that does not want to go up the hill, and I'm dragging it up the hill. And that's what it feels like. That's your entire experience. But there's freedom within that experience. There's just a thin veil between the experience of hell and the experience of heaven. The experience of heaven is that place of there's just no problem. And you get to it by opening so fully to the experience of hell that it truly dissolves the boundary, the fake boundary. It's not a real boundary between self and other. Just dissolves before you know it. So you'll be completely in that hell, totally in it, It feels like there's just nothing else, but you know you have to keep going forward. So you just keep moving. Even though it feels terrible, you just keep moving. It might feel like you're about to leap into an abyss. It might feel like you're walking into a mist and you don't know if you're going to come out the other side. It can feel like that. And that's a very potent place for transformation and realization, that spot right there. It's the scariest thing in the world to walk through it. It's the scariest thing in the world to walk through hell, literally. It's what we do in Zen, because we have this faith that there's more to life, that there's more to see, that there's this incredible freedom just waiting on the other side of this very thin veil. And on some level, we recognize that we are creating that veil too. We recognize that it's our own thoughts, habits of thinking, and habits of attachment, and habits of idea of self that we've carried our whole lives that's preventing us from seeing it. And so wearing it away bit, by each moment, returning to the breath, deepening through that breath, no matter what it feels like. If it feels like there's like a bee swarm of thoughts going around, that's fine. That's great. That's a wonderful, wonderful moment to just extend the breath and let those bees do what the bees are going to do. And before we know it, things have opened up again. We're in a deeper spot. We feel like we have a kind of purchase with the practice. We can really dig in and deepen that breath. And we might have an opening. And then it might close right back up again. And that's all right. We just keep on deepening through the breath, no matter how it feels. And eventually things shift. And then in a more solid and regular way, we can open up to that true person of no rank, coming and going through the senses, just being. So when we're sitting here in the Zendo, we're just being. It doesn't mean we're blank and empty and zombies. It's a very alive, dynamic experience. It sometimes feels hard to say and understand that form is emptiness and emptiness is form. That just sounds like a really silly thing to say, I think, sometimes. And it can also feel frustrating. We hear it all the time. The truth of Zen, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Like, how frustrating is that? It's just not fair to keep saying things that make no sense. But there really is a truth beyond that. The dual thinking that we are trained to do from very early in childhood, it really draws us off the experience of the truth, which is beyond all of that. Totally beyond all of that. We have ideas about it that can hinder us. If we've heard experiences of what other people have gone through and we think, okay, well, this person said they had this experience, so if I just do this like what they said and then it looks like this, then I must be close and it must be working. That can just really draw us off the practice. It's really about opening fully to the not knowing, to the scary, scary aspect of not knowing. And whatever comes up in that process, if it's anger, we feel that anger. If it's white hot rage, what does that feel like in our guts? White hot rage, what does that feel like? If it's grief, we open to that heavy pit in our stomach. If it's joy, we experience joy. What does that feel like? The lightness of being in our body when there's joy. What does that really feel like? And again, all of this, as we're focusing on the practice, we're deepening the breath in each moment, no matter what comes up, all the way to the end, and then opening to that mystery, and opening deeper and deeper and deeper into that mystery, letting go deeper and deeper. Mitra-roshi, in a 2013 Tahoma session, said, "Our mind changes in every instant. It truly does not get stagnant. It does not get stuck. And if we can realize the state of mind where we're not stuck, we're not caught on an idea of something, we can know that deepest wisdom. But we cannot do this when we hold on to thoughts of, I couldn't possibly do that. That's impossible for me. That's not possible. Who can do something like that? We need to throw all of those thoughts away and find that place of infinite size and freedom." Shall I read it again? I read kind of fast. Okay. Our mind changes in every instant. It truly does not get stagnant. It does not get stuck. And if we can realize the state of mind where we're not stuck, we're not caught on an idea of something, we can know that deepest freedom, that deepest wisdom. But we cannot do this when we hold on to thoughts of, I couldn't possibly do that. That's impossible for me. That's not possible. Who can do something like that? We need to throw all of those thoughts away and find that place of infinite size and wisdom. And again, that's not a magical plan. That is something that we can all realize right now. There's nothing stopping us except our own thoughts and our own habits of entrenchment, of building up a wall between ourselves and reality. And so, again, it can be very scary to open up to all those barriers that we have, but it's worth it. I believe I've mentioned in previous talks that I've had a lot of experiences of working with intense fear, grief, anguish, anger, sadness, and joy in my practice. Many, many years of processing trauma, basically, as I did the practice. So that was a lot of pretty heavy stuff I had to open to. And although I had glimmers of insight, and I had a sense about where the practice could take me, it was a long time before I really felt and experienced some significant freedom. And what kept me going was that great faith that we human beings have this amazing capacity to transform and recognize reality to such a depth that the world is transformed. I think that's what the historical Jesus did. Maybe there were many Jesuses. There are some theories that it was not one historical Jesus, but rather a number of teachers in that area at that time, teaching the same mystic truth, which is to contemplate the great mystery within, let go everything into that questioning of that mystery, and walk through it on the other side, having let go of everything. Some people may disagree with that in terms of Jesus's teaching, and that's okay. But that's how I took his experience in a kind of mystical sense. Other mystical teachers and other traditions have had similar experiences. It's not just Buddhists. But whatever faith you find yourself in, whatever path is yours to take, there are many ways to open up to this huge mystery and this huge transformation that's possible. So this is the 6th day of our September session at Mountain Gate in 2025. And it's the last night of session. We have this beautiful full moon, or not quite full moon. It's a gathering moon, whatever you call that. Waxing, it's a waxing moon. And that can really be a wonderful setting for sitting as that moon comes in through the window, moves along the floor. It's like liquid wisdom moving across the zendo floor as we sit. And that yaza is very helpful because it helps us push past the inner barriers that we have created that keep us from seeing things as they are. The more that we can step outside ourselves, step outside our usual way of doing and thinking about things, the easier it is to see. But one of the main ways that Zen helps people do this is by bumping up against what's difficult, offering ourselves in service. There are many different ways to do that. In Zen temples, there's a practice called secret virtue, where, example of that would be, late at night after everyone's gone to bed, you go and just clean all the bathrooms. So it's really nice for everyone. or you know somebody needs something and you just give it to them without saying who it's from. Things like that, they help us go beyond ourselves and connect with the oneness that we are, the emptiness that we are, and the form arising with the emptiness that we are. It just helps us recognize that in action. And during sesshin, we have these extended periods of sitting that naturally force us to go beyond our usual. We don't tend to sit meditation all day. And here in sesshin, we do. And it's really a focused opportunity to move far beyond our usual way of thinking and experiencing. Even though what comes up for us during the meditation retreats are exactly that, the mind states that we tend to live with all the time that we're not really aware of until we're on the cushion, and then we're aware of that beehive in our mind. And it's that awareness that's healing. It's that awareness that is the source itself. So the more we can just stay present and accepting of whatever is going on, fully opening to the energy of it, tasting it fully as we deepen through the breath, it's that awareness that heals and releases everything. And at a certain point, when that awareness deepens through an extended breath at the end of that breath, that awareness, along with a sense of questioning and curiosity, will take us all the way, because that awareness is who we really are, the source of that awareness. That source of awareness is who we are. And so it doesn't really matter what that awareness is experiencing, because we tend to really judge what's happening in our mind, especially during sesshin, because we think, well, I'm sitting here, so everything should be fine now. I've been sitting for 6 days. I shouldn't have any distractions in my mind or anything. I should be totally focused and awake. But we have our patterns, and it doesn't really matter what it feels like. It's that awareness and honing of the awareness that will eventually get us to the place where we can let go fully and open to who we really are. So the way that we focus on that awareness is through the breath. As we're deepening each breath, whatever comes up, we're honing that awareness. And the source of that awareness is who we are. And we'll see it as we surrender to the practice of sesshin, with the seated meditation, the walking meditation, the work period, taking care of things as we need to around the building during sesshin, or if we're practicing at home, same thing. So we get up and walk around, take a break, take care of things at home. That's all our practice, and it's all that awareness that we're wanting to hone. So when we're not on the cushion, being fully aware of what's happening, washing the dishes, making some tea, that's our practice. If you get distracted while you're making the tea, just go back to making the tea. What does it feel like to make the tea? How does it feel with the cup in your hand? What does it smell like when you drop the tea bag in? Maybe nothing. Maybe you have to wait for it to steep to smell like something. But that's the idea. It's just that awareness, over and over and again, deepening that awareness, questioning that goes along with it. If you have a koan, the nub of the koan, otherwise perplexity, as we deepen through our awareness practice, whether it's in action or on the cushion. So I hope this is helpful. Again, this is the 6th day, so this is our opportunity to really dig in. Don't let anything stop us. One moment after the other, just returning to that awareness. It doesn't matter what it feels like. You can be, as Mitra-roshi used to say, you can be just this far from the light switch and not know it. So you just keep going. You never know when you're going to break through and see things totally differently. So thank you so much for listening. I look forward to sitting with everyone the rest of sesshin, and we'll stop now and recite the 4 vows.